Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. So an interesting talking point came up by an individual who calls himself D-Block, Inevitable D-Block. He's very busy on Twitter and he loves boxing, right? But this is something that people have been talking about. Now, the cat's out the bag that with Gervonta Davis, he was going to fight Jake Paul in an exhibition bout, right? That's what was in the works, which in my opinion is just, it would have been interesting. And to be honest with you, I think there are a lot of people who felt that Tank would have beat Jake Paul. But when you look at what happened between Tank and Lamont Roach, I'm not so sure many people now feel that Tank even has a chance against I call him Jizzle P, against Jizzle P. Now, for those of you who are wondering, why would Tank even have considered fighting Tank Paul in an exhibition bout? I'm going to tell you why. The Wu-Tang Cream, cha-ching ching. It's all about the dollar bill, y'all. But I think deep down he felt that maybe he had a good chance on beating Jake Paul. But Tank's not stupid. He knows Jake Paul's a big guy. But I just think he felt that with his skills, he'd be able to get to him. But I'm going to tell you what, just because Floyd was able to put the bing bings on Jake Paul's brother Logan, Floyd, although being retired, he still had his hands full dealing with a 200 plus pound individual in front of him who was athletic. Jake Paul is not his brother Logan Paul. Jake Paul has boxing skill. He's a better fighter than his brother. And I think Jake Paul hits harder than his brother. So if Tank and Jake Paul were to fight, how does that fight go? To me, I think it's an exhibition. It doesn't matter. But I will tell you this, Jake Paul will try to knock him out. That's one thing about Jake Paul. He's wired differently. He's not going to get in an exhibition with a guy like Tank unless they agree to where no one gets knocked out. But if he's in an exhibition and they're fighting, Jake Paul's going to try to knock him out. I already know that. That fight when Jake Paul fought Mike Tyson, I do feel that was somewhat scripted for Mike Tyson to pull back shots and also for Jake Paul to not knock him out. I think it was something where it's like, look, Mike, I'm going to throw you a bone, put 20, 30 million in your pocket, but I need for my profile to keep growing and my ship to keep sailing. So you're going to take a loss. Because that fight just didn't look right, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, man. Like, something about that shit didn't look right. But anyway, I don't think Tank should mess with Jake Paul. But if he's going to do it, if it's even on the table at this point, I don't even think the money's there that could have been there. Because Tank looks human now. He looks normal now. Not many people believe Tank can even beat Lamont Roach. How are they going to come out here and think Tank at 5'4" is going to beat a 6'2", 200-pound plus Jake Paul in an exhibition? You know what I mean? Look, even I got to stop and hold my horses and say, although I like Gervonta Davis, let's be real here. He doesn't belong in there with Jake Paul. Simple. All right? Now, all roads lead to Jake Paul. Then this Canelo situation, the fact that he was going to fight Jake. Look, for those of you out there who are about to give Canelo a hard time, don't. Okay? Canelo is all about his money. And I'll be honest with you, Canelo and Jake Paul, that fight could be very interesting. Jake Paul is not a guy you just hit and hurt and he's going to quit. The guy is wired a little differently. Yeah, I think Canelo beats him. But all I'm saying is, if that fight was an exhibition bout or an officially sanctioned bout, Jake Paul's a big, strong guy. And if Canelo gets in there with him, and for some reason, he allows Jake Paul, because look, Jake Paul has power. If Jake Paul lands some shit on Canelo, who knows what happens, but I would think Canelo would tranquilize him. But at the end of the day, don't hate on Canelo because of everything Canelo's accomplished and you think Canelo should only fight boxers. Let me tell you something. Canelo wants to fight Jake Paul. He wants to fight him. That's the reason why they had a deal in place. He wants to fight him. Turki Al-Sheikh came and broke all that up. It was like, is money that you want? The money? Okay, what do you want? Here. Whatever you want, you tell me, no problem. And that's how come that shit got disbanded. If it wasn't for Turki Al-Sheikh, Canelo would be fighting Jake Paul. It's all about the money. Now, you talk about Terrence Crawford. What's he going to do next? If Crawford will sit here and be inactive and do nothing as far as fighting, just being at home training in Omaha, right? If Crawford will do that, waiting for a monstrous payday against Canelo, which isn't guaranteed, right? But that's the direction it's supposed to go. If he'll sit here in a holding pattern, waiting for Canelo for a monster payday, especially if he wins, why wouldn't Crawford fight Jake Paul after Canelo? You know why? For those saying Crawford would never fight Jake Paul, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. The one thing Crawford said that even you Crawford fans need to listen to, he wants the most money possible, big money fights. Crawford could go out here and fight a fucking kangaroo if they'll pay him $100 million. Y'all think I'm joking? Crawford don't care about who's in front of him no more. Crawford wants the biggest money. And if he fights Canelo, even if it goes to a decision, he loses. And then the next fight, Jake Paul's like, hey, look, you lost to Canelo, I'll fight you. I am telling you, 100% Crawford would fight Jake Paul. I bet you. Because Crawford's about his dough. And if Crawford can fight Canelo, make $100 million, lose, then come fight Jake Paul, make another $50, $100 million, which who knows what direction that fight goes, then Crawford will be a happy camper. Because let's be honest with you. When it comes to Jake Paul, for a guy like Tank, Canelo, Crawford, for any fighter from any weight division, if Jake Paul comes knocking on your door, it doesn't matter what you say to us in public, but behind the scenes, Jake Paul come knocking on your door, you're going to open that shit. You may click on your phone and open up the Ring doorbell and, hey, see who it is. But once you see it's Jake Paul, you're not talking through that Ring doorbell. You're going to be like, oh, shit, hey, come on in, man. And you're going to sit down and have a talk with him. You know why? Because of Jake Paul, because of his profile and the fan base he has and the money he brings to the table. He brings a lot of money to the table. His pay-per-view numbers always do good, and the man just brings money to the table. And the other thing about Jake Paul, I gotta say this. Although Jizzle P can be a bit annoying at times, Jake Paul takes care of fighters. Even if he's fighting, even his opponents, he makes sure that everybody gets paid good. And he, with his guys on his roster, Jake Paul will pay them with his own money, fight purses, if something goes wrong with the event. So we could talk shit about Jake Paul all we want, but at the end of the day, Jake Paul's a good dude and a good dude to have in boxing because he really is in a position to where he can really take care of fighters financially. He really is in that position. And he's a guy who's like, look, I'm okay. I don't need any more money. Man's made over almost $300 million just from boxing alone. That's from boxing alone. He's going to keep making money. It doesn't hurt Jake Paul to take $20 million of his own money and put together an event and pay everybody. That's a tax write-off anyway for him. Even though out in Puerto Rico, he doesn't pay taxes. But I'm sure that in some aspect, there has to be something where he benefits, even if he gives it away to charity. However he does his taxes. You can't tell me that Jake Paul isn't still thinking about, okay, how to take care of people, but at the same time, as a businessman, make sure it benefits me when, the time comes around and start looking at how much money I'm making. Anyway, all roads lead to Jake Paul. It's pretty simple. Y'all keep cool. Gervonta Davis dropped the ball. If Gervonta Davis would have beat Lamont Roach, especially in a knockout, Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul, you know how much money Gervonta Davis would have made? But Gervonta's not worried about money. And I'll say this. If Gervonta was willing to fight Jake Paul, right? Why not go fight out there for Turkey Al-Sheikh if it's about the money. But Jake Paul liked Gervonta because he liked the fact that Gervonta wouldn't go fight for Turkey Al-Sheikh. He liked that Gervonta was staying home and being a true American. And, he started talking all the bullshit about American and America and not going overseas. If Jake Paul had any sense, he'd know Donald Trump is working heavily with the Saudis, and the Saudis have invested billions of dollars in the United States. And Donald Trump is talking about the Sovereign Wealth Fund for the United States. He's basically benchmarking what the Saudis have in place. They're scratching each other's backs. You look at Dana White, his relationship with the Saudis, Donald Trump at MMA events. Then all of a sudden now Turkey Al-Sheikh comes up with this new boxing league. Dana White's leading it. Then the WWE and the Saudis are working with the WWE and everything. If you stitch all that together, you're going to see that the Saudi footprint is in MMA, it's in the WWE, it's in boxing, and it's in the goddamn White House. Simple. Anyway, that's some secret society talk. Y'all keep cool. All roads lead to Jake Paul. I'm in the breeze.